Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Love All. On Sunday, we had sun in New Jersey, and I was kind of drawn between being on the couch to watch Indian Wells on TV or to do a little bit of yard work. And we did some yard work. We, the boys, my husband, we all did it together, and it was really nice. I got a little bit of color. Excited that we had a feel of a little bit of spring weather. What was it? What did you do, Blair, over the weekend?
I love that for you, Kim. And I'm so glad you said something, because I was like, Kim does look tanner today.
I know, it is, right?
It was the yard work. So I love to hear that from you. As you all know, I filmed our last episode in Indian Wells. I stayed for a couple days after that, had a really fun time filming Courtside Confessions with the ATP, which will, I think, initially be released on TikTok, so we know that Kim won't see it. I'll let all of you know.
Thank you, Blair. Fill me in.
Actually, Kim, there was a question that I had the chance to ask Artur Fees, who was fantastic, by the way. And I wanted to ask the question to you as well. I was asking him to essentially give his, we would probably use the word swag. The kids would probably say aura, riz, drip.
Yes, those are the words I hear in my household.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So I asked him if he could give his ratings on the ATP tour right now. But it made me wonder, Kim, in your prime, who had the most aura on tour? Can you give us your top three?
I would say I grew up when I think Anna Kournikova was obviously, in the spotlight a lot. And so I would say she was always a player that I remember everybody would watch, right? The men, the women, the players, like how is she going to show up at the players' party? What is she wearing on court? I think she was the one early on that really stood out. I had a personal favorite when I just came on tour, and I met Silvia Farina. She was an Italian player, and I just absolutely loved her elegance, her style on and off the court. I don't know if it was that Italian elegance that I just really enjoyed. So she definitely was one of the women. She was a bit older than I was, but I just admired her for all the above. And then I would say Maria Sharapova came on a few years after me, but I think she always was very classy, both on and off the court. I loved the kind of the minimalistic look that she always have to this day. I think she, I love her fashion sense. And
that's a good list.
I don't know. I think that's about it.
We're going to talk a little bit more about fashion in just a minute in Henley's headlines. We're also going to have Kimformation, where she's going to break down all things Naomi Osaka's tennis game. And then we are so excited because we are going to close the show with an interview with Zeynep Sonmez, who has really made some waves on tour over the past couple of years. She's from Turkey, has an incredible fan base. And as we learned, she's friends with everyone. She's now Kim's bestie also. So definitely make sure you stay tuned for that.
You can see why she's liked and her personality on tour, and how important it is for her to feel good, right, on tour and to play well. Like that combination, super important.
All right, heading into Henley's headlines. Number one, Kim, you gave me the perfect segue. We've got to talk about some Indian Wells fashion. Naomi Osaka has walked out onto the court in Indian Wells in I've heard some people say cheetah, leopard. Somebody can correct us in the comments. It's one of the two. So she's got this amazing Nike dress, but she also has this sort of mouthpiece and earpiece. Yes, that's really interesting. She had a whole spread in Vogue. Can you imagine, Kim, in your time walking out on court with something that's that eye-catching?
I cannot, but I love it for her, and it pulls me to the TV screen, and I love that she has that focus on something else besides tennis, and that she brings that brings storytelling kind of factor to the tennis tour. And I at times I wonder how can tennis still grow and make add new things to the sport. And then you see somebody like her who shows up at the Australian Open on center court and has the umbrella and has the the veil, and it was such an intriguing, and there's people both sides, they're like, oh, it's over the top. And there's people that are saying, oh, I love it. And I love it for her.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it. If she loves it, we love it. And it is something that's really interesting because I'm always on the edge of my seat wondering what she's going to walk out in next, which I think is a net positive.
I did look at the jeweler that made the pieces of jewelry because I think she tagged them or they were tagged in something. And I looked at, he's a guy from, I think, New York. I forgot his name now, but love some of the pieces that are on there. A little bit out there, like extreme, like... but some of the pieces, I was like, ooh, put it in my little shopping cart. I didn't buy it yet. So I hope they're still in there. But
I love it. Wait, you literally put things in your shopping cart?
Yes. I had like 3 things on there that I was like, ooh, I would like that. Like it just like a bigger cuff, like in your ear, where you don't have to get pierced. Like
you set me up perfectly for the segue here because the number 2 Henley's headline is that not only did Aryna Sabalenka get a puppy, she has also gotten engaged. She is now the owner of a 12-carat diamond engagement ring that she is playing matches with. She is not only
I think the ring and the puppy are about the same size.
That's actually not that much of an exaggeration. No. The puppy is very tiny and small, and the ring is massive. But she's playing tennis with it, which is not something that we have often seen. I remember Caroline Wozniacki had quite a sizable diamond that I don't believe she played in. I think Sloane Stephens, when she first got engaged, I don't think she played in hers, but also sizable. But I guess if you're going to have a 12-carat ring, make it so that you can play with it.
Do whatever you want. Like I played with a ring at one point and it used to give me a blister. Like it got, like my calluses got really bad. And, but I think it was the lady that made, I think it's a friend of hers that made the jewelry or that made the engagement ring. And it's so pretty because she has like green on the bottom, like green stones on the bottom, emeralds, like very, very pretty. So very beautifully made. And, I just am excited for him that he was able to catch her by surprise because he must have thought really hard about like, how can I do this so I can actually surprise her? And yeah, it worked. Like he got her.
Same. All right. Moving on now to a story that took place on Monday. So this will be released on Wednesday. It was Katerina Siniakova took out the defending champion Mirra Andreeva in Indian Wells 4-6, 7-6. 6-3 in the third round. This match had drama all the way through.
Right. So Siniakova was upset that she was moving so fast in between the points when she was serving, and she felt rushed getting to the baseline to get ready for the return. So it is like, you have your routine as a server, but great for Siniakova to play a tough opponent and fight through the controversy a little bit. But it didn't end there, right?
It did not end there.
No.
The chair umpire, Jenny Zhang, got involved. There were rackets that were broken during the match. For a time, Andreeva's team left the box. They did return for the third set. Andreeva, as we mentioned, would not end up winning that match. And as she walked off the court, she had words for the crowd. Would you like to deliver the quote?
You can do it. Go for it.
Hang on, let me make sure I'm getting it right. I believe there was a hand gesture that went along with it, and it was
only 2 words, I think.
I think it was F you all.
Oh, F you all. Okay.
F you all.
Yeah.
And in that moment, Kim, a meme was born. This woman, I'm going to guess she was a Palm Springs resident. Am I stereotyping? Probably. But she got the F you all, and her reaction.
It looked like it was told to her face. That's like, she took it that way, right? She was like, hand to the chest.
Yes. It was, as she's following Andreeva with her head. And then she literally clutches her pearls. But this on the flip side, Andreeva has that heartbreaking loss. She's back out on court in the afternoon playing doubles with Vicky Mboko. They're laughing on the sideline, and she's mentally moved on. But there are probably things there to be learned for Andreeva, who again is just 18 years old.
At times we forget that, right? Like she's only 18 and she's going through this whole process. For the first time. Like I said before, it's like the dealing with the pressure for the first time. Like the fact, what we talk about Sabalenka, we love seeing the emotions, right? There's people that say like, oh, but it's too much at times. But like, I love seeing the emotions. Do I think it's always the best for them? No, I don't think it always helps their tennis in the best way, but I do think it's fun to watch where you see players, maybe get mad at their team, maybe, get annoyed with themselves and sighing and rolling their eyes or whatever it is. Like, it's fun to see those emotions. But when it gets to a point where, I think with Andreeva, you can see her at times, crying on court, and it's hard to get that out of your head and really just focus on what you have to and have a clear mind about it. So I hope for her, and I know Conchita, has been working with her for a long time and has been working on the mental side of that too, is to just get her to kind of play and stay in the moment. And that's what it all comes down to is we all have those negative thoughts in our head, but it's, as you get older, you're just a little bit better at dealing with the negative kind of thoughts and you don't let it take over. But good for her to be able to go out, a couple of hours later and play and still kind of leave the site in Indian Wells and go back to the hotel with somewhat of a good feeling, knowing that you've been able to kind of still enjoy your time on court and because that's always is very important as well, because there's nothing that gets much worse is when you go back to your hotel room and you're by yourself in your hotel room. You have that feeling of like, oh man, like I just, lost that match. I played horrible. Like, my attitude maybe wasn't great. Like that's a horrible feeling. Like when you sit there by yourself and then you have to try and face your team and like it's all part of it. But good for her that she was able to, have her doubles and hopefully, leave the courts on a high note.
Well, on a much more serious note, several players on the WTA and ATP tours revealed they had received WhatsApp messages threatening to harm them and their families. It included photos of family members. A couple of the text exchanges included photos of a gun, and they were essentially being threatened. This is what awaits you if you do not lose your upcoming match. So one of the players, Panna Udvardi, who received some of these messages, said that the WTA supervisor told her that whoever these people were being in possession of her contact information and her personal information could have stemmed from a leak from the WTA, potentially the ATP information about these players. That is so incredibly scary. We've heard about the issues with gambling in tennis and the abuse that the players are subjected to on their social media platforms. This is taking it to a whole other level to think that these people potentially have access to the players themselves. I mean, there's really not much to say other than it's terrible, Kim, but I'm curious what your reaction was.
Yeah, it's something that I'm reading it, right? I haven't gone through, being on tour as a player, dealing with that kind of abuse through social media, gambling, whatever it is, and stalkers, and it's different now, and it's but that because it's different doesn't mean that it's okay and that you just have to deal with it. Like, I'm so amazed with everything that we can do technology wise that kind of stuff can be filtered out. Like how you can't protect players, and there's so many smart people who are way smarter than I am, like who must be able to find some kind of filter to filter all these, to protect, these athletes a little bit, because it is a form of abuse. And I saw a Belgian guy, Michael Geerts as well. He was playing a challenger, and he had it was all over the news in Belgium, where they threatened with his towards his parents, that they were watching his house where his parents were living. They had his parents' ID numbers. Like, it got to like very detailed, and where he admitted, like, if he would have won that match, like he ended up losing the match, but he won the first set, and he started like being a little bit worried, or he was up in the first and being worried about like, oh, what if some of this could be true? And so it does play an effect on you mentally. And I just hope that, it doesn't inspire more people, right? To because you see that it can influence some players. And but yeah, it's unfortunate that we haven't found a better solution yet to and I don't know what that solution could be, but whoever, Facebook and all those guys, Instagram and whoever they are, like they got to come up with something so that it's not just in tennis, it's every sport.
Now it is time for Kimformation, my favorite segment of the day. And as promised, Kim is going to give us a little breakdown on Naomi Osaka, who, just a quick refresher, she's a 4-time Grand Slam champ. She's 28 years old, currently ranked 16 in the world. And I think the big question mark has been, is she going to regain the level that we saw from her prior to having her daughter? So that was 2018, 2019. And I'll pose that question to you, Kim, but also I would love for you to tell us what she does so well and what she could potentially do better.
So that's the thing. Like, I do think tennis-wise, I think she is back at the level that she had before she had her daughter. Like, I think she's just as fit, if not fitter, as she was, compared to before she had her daughter. She looks like she's enjoying putting in the work, putting in the time, getting better. So I think she's doing all the right things. To me, I think the thing that stands out to me the most is that she hits the ball, I think maybe not quite as hard as a Sabalenka or a Vakina, but she serves. She has a good serve. She hits the ball almost as hard as those top players. I think the difference is where she lacks a little bit is that her overall court game is when she plays somebody that hits the ball hard. It's either you go harder or go home. Like, she doesn't have other solutions. And at times I think that that's where she's a player where, I've talked in the past, like we've talked about Sabalenka quitting doubles because she wanted to focus on singles. We talked like with Elise Mertens, I've talked about like, she wants to, get back to that top 10 and get to maybe potential semifinals of Grand Slams. And, there you would almost recommend like, hey, try to, pull back a little bit on the doubles, where with an Osaka, I almost feel like, it would be great to see her play some doubles, because I really think that she could benefit from just being a little bit more comfortable coming in and using the doubles to, as an advantage in her singles game. But I think she's overall, like, I think she's better than what she was before. She's come up. I mean, there's a lot, we saw her beat Serena, right? But now you have players, I think a Sabalenka, she serves great, maybe not as well as Serena did, but, very, very close, hits the ball as hard, moves just as well as Serena used to. So there's a lot of players that make it really hard or take Osaka's strength away from her. And when that happens, you have to be able to fall back on a couple of solutions. And at times, I think she doesn't have those. But when she beat Osorio yesterday in her match, like that, to her, I feel like for her is the perfect way to get into the match that is coming up against Sabalenka, is because she was able to dictate the game. She was able to ball, like Osorio hits the ball with a little bit of spin. It's in your kind of driving, like where you want to hit your racket. Like it felt like it was a really good match for her to get that win before playing Sabalenka. And then you add the emotional side of it all. You have, the whole kind of behind the scenes, right? Like with Sabalenka, I would say basically taking over as the female leading role in that agency that Naomi started with Stewart, the agency called Evolve. Like those kind of things, it happens on the tennis tour, but it's a lot easier said than done to just put it aside and act as if that doesn't have an effect. And it sometimes happens with coaching changes where, a coach that you've worked with for a long time is all of a sudden coaching against you. Like those are emotions that you have to deal with and can sometimes trigger you in somewhat of a way. And I think this is the first time that Osaka and Sabalenka are playing against each other since that Osaka, I think, went back to IMG, right? Is with Max. And that just adds another little added layer of drama, maybe, in a sense.
Yeah,
but
we love the layers.
I'm super excited to watch on a tennis level. I'm super excited to see these two compete against each other because Yeah. At any stage where the two big hitters play each other, it's about who can keep the unforced errors down, but who is able to put pressure fastest. And that's what I'm curious, and I can't wait to sit in front of gardening work for me during that match. I'm going to be sitting on the couch.
Kim's going to farm out her yard work so she can watch.
It's only my little front yard. It's not big. It's
okay. No, I love that. I thought that was a fantastic explanation, which leads us into our next segment. So after the break, we're going to be joined, as promised, by Zeynep Sonmez. She's 23 years old. She's been on the rise over the past couple of years, captured her first title in Merida in 2024, becoming the first player from her country to reach the third round at a major at Wimbledon. And that helped her break into the top 70 in the world. And she also qualified and reached the third round again at the Australian Open this year. She's from Istanbul, Turkey. Zeynep Sonmez will be with us after the break.
Hi, Zeynep. Well, I just want to say welcome to our podcast. It's called Love All, and we're super excited to talk to you. I have been doing research about you, but I would love to have the chance to get to know you a little bit better and talk to you in person here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So I'm very excited to be able to be here and talk to you. Because as you can imagine, I grew up watching you. I was watching you a lot. And I was a big fan. I'm a big fan still. So I'm very, very happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. No, we're excited. Both of us, Blair too.
Very well. I'm curious, Zeynep, what did you like about watching Kim? Kim would never ask that herself,
No.
but I can ask for her.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. When I was watching her and when she won Australian Open after her pregnancy, I was like, oh my God, that's a dream come true. It's like, it was so to watch you on court, I would feel so, I would feel like you wouldn't miss. I don't know why. I would feel like, oh my God, she can play all day, every day, and I feel like she's not gonna miss. And for me, you were playing so effortless, and the winners that you were hitting and everything, I love all of it. So I can't just pick one, but it was just so good to watch her play on the court.
Well, thank you. Now we're going to talk about you. Thanks. No, so you just mentioned before we started recording that you're still in LA. You're ready to fly to Miami, right? This is a busy part of the season where you have to jump on a couple of planes to get to the tournaments and everywhere. But tell me a little bit, what was Indian Wells like for you?
Indian Wells was great. I fly from Merida, so I was playing tournament, and I love Merida. I think I did not have a very good Middle East swing. So I was not going to Merida. Actually, in the plan, my coach was like, "I'm working with Issam," and then my coach was like, he said maybe not, maybe you shouldn't go. We should just practice. And I was like, but I really, really want to go. And I was in qualies, and I didn't know I could only get 3 wild cards in a year. So I got all 3. I used all 3 in Middle East, and I was 15 out. And then in one night, I was just 1 out. And then I said, guys, I really want to go. Can I please just go? Because I love playing there. And lately I've been not feeling well. And I just want to go. And we went there, and it was great. I played quarterfinal. And then we went to Indian Wells. And I like the condition in Indian Wells. I mean, it's the courts are not super fast, but the balls are not so bouncy. In Merida, it was very, very bouncy. I like playing in Indian Wells, and I think I played good 2 matches. I played against McCartney first. It was a great match. It was very tight first set. And then against Anna, it was a great match too. I had some chances, but overall, I think me and my team were happy with the tennis that I played last week.
So I just want to explain to maybe the people who don't know who Issam is. You started working at the start of this year, right? Or maybe in the off season a little bit already?
Yeah, we started working in the off season, yeah.
Yeah. with Issam, who was working with Ons Jabeur for a long time, and she's pregnant now. So he's kindly stepped in, and I think Ons is also kind of mentoring you a little bit. Is that like a packaged kind of deal, or?
I mean, it's not like we're not like talking on daily basis, but yeah, we do talk. Like sometimes I call her, like, you know, when I struggle with something, or when I don't know what to do, or when things get too much. Sometimes I call her and I try to ask for help. Like I was like, I don't know what to do, and you know, like, and she's been there, so she knows everything.
Yeah.
And she's very helpful. So I'm very, very grateful to have her in my life too, with Issam, of course.
How has that been, like that, you know, having him on the sideline now, like a new voice? How you know, what have you felt, or on court, or mentally, that approach has given you?
I mean, definitely, I feel like I have more responsibilities after I started working with him, because I know that he was like, his player played Grand Slam finals, and they've been together for a long time. And, you know, it's just, I felt like I have to like really, really give, like, I was, of course, giving my 100%, but maybe I have to give like 110, 120 to really, you know, make it work. And I'm so, like, again, like when we talk, it's like, you know, sometimes he's telling me things that I've never like really knew before. And, you know, it's a different like perspective, and he's been there, and he really believes in me. And I think it really means a lot too, because sometimes I struggle, like, you know, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and you know, I can be a little bit negative sometimes, and he's always like, no, we're gonna make it work, I believe in you. And it really gives me strength. And you know, when he's on the side, I feel like it doesn't matter what I do on court, he's gonna be able to see if I'm doing it right or wrong.
Yeah. One thing, Zeynep, from everything I've read, is that you maybe made a shift mentally in trying to be maybe a little bit more aggressive on the court, come into the net more. And I wonder what that transition was like for you. Did you have to sort of talk yourself into that? Do you feel confident in that style of game now?
Yes, I think I've been feeling more confident about it. When I was a kid, I was like playing very far behind the baseline, and I would just run and put everything in. But and then at some point, like, I was like, okay, it's not gonna work out, because like people are hitting the ball and I have to hit the ball, and somehow. And I was thinking, like, how can I use my legs and my aggressive, like, how can I be aggressive but you with using my legs, because I don't have a huge serve. And I was thinking, like, maybe I can go to net more, so that, you know, when I hit a good shot, I can go to net and finish it at the net. But definitely the coaches that were in my life, and the mentality overall, like me seeing the highest level of tennis, and, you know, seeing what they do, helped me a lot in that time. So I was like, I'm getting better, but Issam is like, you know, we have to find a balance between both. Like, you have to be able to play like a good baseline tennis and get the chance and then go to net. So I think it's going good, but you know, I wouldn't say like I'm 100% like comfortable with it.
And it takes time, right, to build that confidence too, to feel comfortable to go to the net or to hit the drive volley, or it just needs, it takes time to kind of build, or to use what you've worked in on the practice courts, to use that in a match. Because I do think, like, and I was like that too, like in a match, you kind of always fall back to kind of old, you know, patterns that you feel comfortable with. And I definitely did, you know, similar things where, you know, sometimes I stayed a little bit too far behind the baseline and just started running and defending. And you're absolutely, I think, correct with where you say, like, it's, you know, the girls hit the ball so hard now, and a lot of them can hit winners from almost every angle. And so you have to be, you know, definitely ready to go and be the aggressor at times as well. And because you're going to have a lot of work on your side if that's all you're going to do is run from side to side and try not to make mistakes and hope that they make the mistakes. So it's a normal thing, but it takes time.
Yes,
to
it's
feel
good
comfortable.
to hear that you were struggling with those things.
Yeah, no, it is. It's yeah, you have to. I feel like I feel like in the last 5-6 years where I really felt like, okay, if I stay on top of my baseline, like, and you know, I call it like home base, right? There's like, you retrieve, like after a shot, like the spot where you retrieve back to, becomes like home base, and that's where you start dictating the points from. But it used to be almost, I think, like a meter like further back when I started, and I was lucky that I had the power to, if I was even a little further behind the baseline, to try and hit hit some like heavy shots. But it's tough to do that 3 sets if you have to play a tough opponent.
Zeynep, I was wondering, you mentioned that you can be hard on yourself, and I feel like that's certainly relatable for me, probably relatable to many people who are listening. And one of the articles I was reading, it was saying you were working on being gentler to yourself. And how have you been doing that? Give us some tips on how to be more gentle to oneself.
I mean, yes, I think there are a lot of people who are not super like easy on themselves. And no, I've been like, I dropped out of 100 end of last year, and I was feeling like, oh, am I going to be able to do it again? And in Turkish media, it was like, it was a little bit like, okay, was it by luck? And like, that when you get into that social media and everything is like, when you're doing one thing wrong, like when some things are not going so great and they're starting to attack you. And it got into my head, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again. Like, maybe they're right, I don't know. And then my team was like, no, you should like stop going there. Like, you shouldn't go there. And that's where I talked to Ons too. And I was like, we talked like for an hour or so, and then she helped me a lot there. And also I've been working with Mehmet, like he's always with me. We've been together for like 6 years. He's like, we're working mentally and also physically, like he's my fitness trainer too. And he told me like, it's just in your head. Like you did that once, and like it shouldn't even be your goal to like get in top 100 again. It shouldn't be the goal. Like, and we were talking about that, and I said, it's my life. In the end, like when I stop playing tennis, I'm not gonna think about, oh, what that person was thinking about me or what they were saying about me. I was just focusing on, like, I would just like, live my life. So now I'm trying to be more like, I don't want to say be the bad person, but I'm trying to be like prioritize myself more. And
Great to hear.
And I'm not there yet, but again,
keep trying.
Yes,
trying.
Exactly. It's a decision. I think it's a decision you have to make every single day. It's not like you have to make that decision once and then it's gonna work out. You have to make that decision every single match, every single day. And there are some days that I'm good with deciding on choosing myself first, but there are some days it just doesn't work out.
And how do you, or with your team, how do you approach that? Like, okay, whatever, newspapers, and like I grew up in that era where there was no social media, so I didn't have kind of the personal attacks that would come directly to me on my feed. But there was media, there was newspaper titles, that I would read in the beginning, and people around me would say, just don't read it, like don't let it affect you. And it's easier said than done, right? Like it's a lot easier to kind of just brush it off and go on with life as if everything is great and nothing's happening, because you do at times start can doubt yourself. So how is your team kind of guiding you in that approach? Because that's I'm so curious. Like I have a daughter who's 18, and I'm curious to see like how that like how do the people with the experience that I've had, like how can they help you, or is it as black and white by saying just don't read it? Like what is the approach?
So I'm like in big tournaments, I am not checking my social media a lot, because it's never good to check social media a lot, because as you go, you always like go and like scroll and scroll. So but overall, I'm trying to do is like, people are gonna talk. First of all, I have to accept that they're gonna say something for sure, no matter what I do. If I do something good, if I do something bad, they're gonna talk. And most of the time, the people who say unbelievably good things about me when I do something good are the same people who talks very bad about me when I lose a match or two. So, and I think I'm at a point where I accept this, like they're gonna talk, but they don't know what I'm going through, or they don't know what my life looks like. And I know that I want to win. I want to do good things more than anyone on social media. Like for them
Right.
to like, it's just, and they are not in my life. They're not people like, I saw one quote like, if you have a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. So it's just like I'm at a point where okay, I genuinely don't care. Like I really don't care what you say about me because this is my life and tennis is not that long to think about what other people are going to think about me. Like I'm representing my country. Like what if I don't give them what they're expecting from me or anything, because again, this is my life, and when I stop playing tennis, no one even gonna like talk about me or like care of what I'm doing. So I'm just focusing on myself, and I have a lot of people who's really trying for me to get where I really want to get, and I don't want to let them down too. I don't want to let them down for some people who I don't know talking about me, or even some people I know. But I'm coming, like I have to accept that too. Like I'm coming from a country that tennis is not a big thing. So when there's something good, they're gonna be a lot of like, oh my God, it's amazing, wonderful, and this and that. And then when things are not going well, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, she's a trash. So I'm okay with it. And I'm just, I said, I'm just going to do my job, and I'm just going to surround myself with good people, and I'm going to try to do my best. So I don't want to regret after I finish my career. I don't want to regret, oh, I wish I've done that. I wish I've done that. So I'm just thinking like that. And they're very protective over me, like my teams too. Like they're trying to protect me, but they're trying to show me the reality too.
What has that been like for you in the last year and a half, 2 years? Like the changes, like becoming, with all the negative things, but also the positives. Like how has that changed in your home country? Like you're from Turkey. I visited Turkey with my daughter for the first time a couple of years ago. I was in Izmir. She had to play a basketball tournament, and I'm just curious, like, what is it like for you now? Like how, the adjustments that you've had to make or not, or your family members, or what's it like when you walk around now there? Um, Give me a little bit of, like let people feel a little bit what that's like when you come from a country where they don't have, a tennis star like you, or they're not used to that, and how much attention comes, is put onto your plate, and that you just have to adjust to a little bit as well.
Yes, I mean it's definitely like I love going back home. I love Istanbul. I live in Istanbul. I'm from Istanbul. I was born and raised there. It's a great city. You should come.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is sometimes like when I go back home now, sometimes when I go supermarket or something, sometimes some people will recognize me and talk to me, and it feels weird because like I'm traveling all the time, and like when I go back home, because it was not something happening before, so it feels like a little bit interesting to me, which I'm very happy about. Like but I've always loved playing Billie Jean King Cup. I've always loved playing for my country. It means a lot to me. I love representing my country, and I love my country overall. So, like doing great things for my country really, really means a lot to me. And like when I go back, sometimes I see some small kids like saying like, "Oh my
Mm,
God, you're my idol. I want to be like you when I grow up." It's like it feels amazing. Probably that
right.
feeling. Like you feel like, oh my God, like this
You're
is
like,
this.
really? Like
Yeah,
me?
yes, exactly. It's like, are you sure? Is it me? And it feels great. I mean, I'm so grateful for that feeling and for all the people that are supporting me. And they do support me a lot, to be honest. Like in Australia too, I was like, it was insane. I felt like I was at home. I definitely didn't feel like I was like in Melbourne.
No, the other
So
side of the world.
yes, so I'm so grateful for that. And we're like, we're very passionate. Turkish people are very
Right.
passionate. We're like very like we can get so loud,
Yeah.
and like again, like it's just a privilege to be able to represent my country and, have some people like supporting me, like
Make people feel good, right? Like that's, you have that impact.
What has been the biggest pinch me moment for you, Zeynep, in whether it's being in the locker rooms with people that you watched on TV, or you were honored at the Harper's Bazaar Turkey Women of the Year event, you were the Athlete of the Year. I mean, I feel like you've had some pretty cool experiences. And so much of this is new too. I was looking, last year you played in qualies of Indian Wells in Miami, and so much of that has changed as well. So I'm curious what the biggest, I call it a pinch me moment, but whatever sticks out to you.
So I think last year when I was playing Wimbledon third round and I went on the court, like I was trying to go to court and it was so full that we didn't get in for a while. We were not able
No
to
way.
for a while. And I was like, oh my God, all these people were like here to like watch me play. It's amazing. Like, and I got messages like at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. people were waiting on the line to just play. And they traveled from Turkey, and it was definitely, it was amazing. And after my match in Wimbledon, they called me from the locker room and they said that we want to get your match kit for Wimbledon Museum. And I was like, are you sure you called the right person?
Well, because just a quick timeout, you were the first Turkish player ever to reach the third round of a major. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay, so that it was a historical moment.
Yeah, so I was very, very excited. At first I was scared. I was like, why are they calling me? Did I do something wrong? And then when I found out, I was like, okay. And in Australia too, it was so good. And like when I played in Kia Arena, it was almost like, I don't know, but like I felt like it was full and I saw a lot of flags like that.
Against Putin Seva?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw a lot of flags and, I never like looked up and saw all of them, but I was able to see everything. So I was like, oh my God, I was very nervous, but those are my like pinch me moments.
That's what I wanted to ask you is like, when you see that, whether, where it's so full that you can't even get to the court, is that to you, does it motivate you to like be even more locked in? Or is it more like, oh my God, like, what if I lose? Like, I'm going to disappoint them? Or like, where does your thought process go?
No, I'm most of the time I'm just locked in.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like you and Eala have that support now, right? Like you it's like a new kind of vibe in the tennis world, and a lot of people are talking about it. It's like, oh, when you have to be on the show court so they can fit all the all the fans into the stadium, and you're going to fill up the stadium like we saw with Eala in Dubai and with you in Australia. Like it's really fun to see, and the more new eyes and the more fans we can get to our sport, the better for all of us.
Yes, exactly. It's so good to like, like even when you're playing like on those kind of courts and where there are so many people who are supporting you. I always feel like, okay, it can be very loud, but I always feel like, Zeynep, like you've been dreaming about this, playing on these courts against great players, and just please enjoy it. Please do your best, and so I would probably like I always say these things to myself when it's like very crowded.
So when you go to Wimbledon now in a few months, are you going to go look through the museum and see where your outfit is hanging?
I don't know if they put it, but like yes, definitely I will check. If they did, I will definitely check.
All right, good.
Well, I love that Kim mentioned Alex Eala because I know you two are besties. But I will also say I watched your vlog that you shot a few weeks ago, and you appeared to be besties with pretty much everyone. You were tight with Maya Joy. You were talking to Dasha Kazakina. Who else was in that one? Priscilla Hahn, so many. Ayla Tomjanovic. So are you a player who has no problem just making friends with everyone sort of along the way?
No, yeah, girlhood forever. So it's just, we're in this together. Like, we see each other more than we see our families, basically. So why not be friends, And with Alex, we're very close. Like it's not like we're just friends just in tennis. Like we're friends like even outside of tennis. Like we talk a lot. We try to spend some time together, which is not very easy. But yeah, we met in, I would say, 2021, around that. And since then, like we're very good friends. And I love to be friends with all of them because like it's just like the struggles that we go through and the problems that we face, like it's like very similar. And I always tell them, like, if you guys need me, I don't know for what you would need me for, but like I'm always here. Like if I can do anything, I would love to,
I feel like I
because
played in the wrong era, Blair.
I know.
it's not like that.
No, not at all. I feel like I was the weirdo. Like if I was trying to talk to like potential opponents or, like half and talk in the locker room. And yeah, it was just like, it was really not, it didn't happen that often in the early 2000s, I would say.
It's just good to, like support each other. Yeah, support each other. And, sometimes I struggle with something like in Abu Dhabi, I played against Alex, and the day before the match, we went on a dinner together and we talked about life for like 3-4 hours. And, I don't care. Like we played against each other the next day. And after the match, everything was fine too, because it's just a match. I don't really, of course, like she wants to win. I want to win. Like we both know this. But in the end of the day, we're friends, and it's for me, it's not a problem to be like to play against each other and to be friends at the same time.
Yeah. There's a few girls I feel like back in the day that had that mindset, but then there were others that were like not even look at you for like, the first week of a Grand Slam, knowing that potentially in the quarterfinals you could play each other. Like they would avoid you. They didn't want to hit with you. Like it was, definitely very different. So, yeah, but I love hearing that, is to have that support and to be able to talk to the girls about, what's happening, off court while you're away with them. Because I realized like when I had my daughter and I would go, pick up my daughter from school, and I would talk to like the moms at school, like it's great. And like we have that connection there, but there's really nobody who knows what it's been like for me growing up, right? Like unless you've been there. And then when I would play the Legends events and I would talk to Martina Hingis and I would talk to Cara Black and like all the women that are playing, and we're all like, yes, like we understand each other. We know what it takes. We know like the struggles, the great parts about it. And you're absolutely right. That's, we're closer a lot of times because you travel with these women for week in, week out for years, and more than times you see your own family.
Exactly.
If you had to describe your personality in 3 words, what would the 3 words be?
I would say I'm a strong person.
It can be more than 3 words. We have no rules here at Love All. We can go over 3 words.
Okay, I'm easygoing.
Easygoing.
I mean, I don't know if my team thinks that when I'm on the court, but outside of court. and I think I'm very passionate about the things that I do.
That's great. Easygoing, strong,
great combination.
But I'm strong. I would say like it's like I can, even if I struggle with something a lot, I feel like I always remind myself, it's gonna pass. Like it's gonna be fine. So I feel like it gives me strength to think like that.
I think the sport of tennis also teaches us that, right? Like it's you can play, a few bad games, but you just have to let it go and come back and kind of forget about.
What were you doing?
Yeah.
Can I get some like help? How would you like it? Let's turn it around. It's like, how would you deal with like losses and all the expectations and everything?
Yeah, I mean, the expectation, I think I struggled with in the beginning, especially because I think Justine Henin and I, like we had both being from Belgium, and like we came up together and started playing some big matches in the Grand Slams against each other. And so that added another dimension of attention that I wasn't used to, or pressure that I wasn't used to. Very relatable to what you said, like the people who are closest to you, like I didn't want to let them down. I've almost felt worse for my team than I did for myself when I lost. but it was, just as I got older and I got, used to saying no a little bit more, right? Like become comfortable with saying no and knowing what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And I was very heartbroken after losses, but I was able to use it in the practice to become better and to work harder and really dissect, like, okay, with my team, like, what do I have to get better on? Is it physically? If I want to be able to beat Serena, what do I need to be better at? And I have to become faster. I have to become more accurate with my serve. And so you start picking out, a few points here and there, or a few issues that I felt that I was lacking against, different players. I mentioned Serena, but against Justine, it was something else. Against Venus, it was something. Against Sharapova, against Davenport. And you just try to add all those things and just try to be better over time. And one of the biggest mindsets after a while was that, I realized, like, and it's easier, it's easy to read something when people say, like, pressure is a privilege, right? Like, it's easy to read that. You see it when you walk out on court at the US Open. But until you have experienced it, like, until I felt it, it's almost like, people think highly of you and they expect you to win because you have the results to back it up, because they think that you can beat these players. And I think once you start talking like that to yourself as well, it takes a little bit of the pressure away. And that's kind of, I think, the mindset that I got as I got older. It's easier to talk about it all now that I'm, many years out of my career, but it's in the process, like, I just had to learn to turn off my tennis brain at times and really, have fun. And I had friends on tour, or brought, like, friends from Belgium with me, on tour so that I could really kind of just have a little bit of normal life while I was traveling on the road.
I'm going to take some notes down for sure.
It's a process, like, and it doesn't happen all at once, right? Like, I feel like there's definitely different stages in my life or in my tennis career where I felt like I really got better emotionally and mentally. Like, now looking back, like, I lost my first 4 Grand Slam finals before I won my first one. So after a while, like, every press conference was about, do you think you're too nice to win? Like, shouldn't you be meaner against your opponents? Should you like, why can you beat your opponents in the smaller tournaments, but you can't do it at a Grand Slam? So those kind of things, like, after a while, you try to kind of leave them in the media room, but then you start thinking about it a little bit too, and you take them with you. And but I know now that just mentally, I wasn't ready to win a Grand Slam. I just wasn't ready because I was so overwhelmed by the occasion, where it would almost, like, paralyze, my arm and my legs, and I just wasn't playing freely out there anymore. And that was at times the most disappointing part, is that I wasn't able, when you want to show your best tennis, is in that moment, and you want to give the crowd a good final and the tournament a good final and the people watching on TV like a fun match. But I just felt like in those matches I just wasn't able to bring my best tennis, and that was the most disappointing part. So I kind of told myself over and over again, just keep trying and give yourself those opportunities, because you can't practice being nervous, in a Grand Slam final, or seeing the trophy on the side of the side of the court and realizing you're so close. And but there's different stages, and you'll experience that as well. Is like, okay, the second week of a Grand Slam, like that, there's a different feel to the tournament when you get to those stages. And but it's all part of I think the growth process, and becoming a better tennis player, but also, like you were talking about with your coach Issam, like, he's teaching you things that you didn't even think about, and that's, those are moments where I also felt like, oh, I never thought about this before. Like, I'm learning something new, and I'm taking that with me to the next tournament, and I'm going to try to do some things a little bit differently. And you learn from other players. You see things, I saw Monica Seles practice at 6:30 in the morning because there were no courts. I was like, oh, that makes sense, right? Like, you can see her practicing. And so from there on, I started, booking my court at 7 a.m. so I could have an hour and a half, of practice by myself and work on the things that I wanted to work on without being interrupted or without being with 4 on a court.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to change the name of the podcast to Life Lessons with Kim Clijsters.
Yeah, no, we definitely have to cut a lot from that last part.
No, that's great.
No, please not.
No.
For the tennis nerds who listen to the show, Zeynep, we were wondering if you could maybe go through some of your matches with, I'm going to name some players and have you tell us what makes them so challenging to play and what they do so well. Kind of give us a little breakdown. And I'd love to start with your friend Alex, because you guys played each other recently. I assume you practiced together. What does she do so well that gives so many people a hard time?
First of all, she plays very close to the line, I think. She's playing very aggressive, and she's a lefty, so it's difficult for a lot of players because, like, she can open up, she can use the angles, but at the same time she can hit the ball very flat and heavy, like, fast. So you always feel like you don't have so much time against her. You feel like you have to create something before she does,
Yeah, you're
and
rushed.
sometimes you rush because of that. So you have to, like, maybe like when I was like playing against her, like, I was feeling like, okay, she's hitting the ball very fast and she's taking the ball very early, so I felt like I had no time. So I was trying to go to middle deep more, to like neutralize, because then she doesn't have angle. And so to play against her, it's difficult because she's playing very close to line and very aggressive. And whenever she has the chance, she can create an angle. So she's not someone who's just playing like down the lines or like flat, deep balls, but she can also use the angle. So you have to cover all the court basically, and you have to do it very fast. And the balls are very low too. So you have to be down and low, and to be like, you need to be ready for those hard shots.
Do you like to practice with her? Do you practice together a lot when you're at the same event?
We do practice, not a lot, but we do practice together. I like to practice with her because, it's like
It's a
you
good
have to.
rhythm, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yes, exactly. And to play with her, like to rally with her, like you get a good rhythm when you're hitting with her. And it's fun.
Do you like hitting? Do you like playing against the hard hitters?
I like playing against the hard hitters. So for me, like when in Australia, for example, when I was playing against Alexandrova, and then I had a match where I played against Anna, but like for example, Alexandrova and Putintseva are like two opposite players. Like I know like when I played against Alexandrova for it was the second time that we were playing against. I played against her in the third round of Wimbledon and in Australian Open. So when I was playing against her in the Australian Open, I had the idea of like how I should play, and I knew how she was playing because I played against her before. And she hits the ball very heavy. I think she is the person that I played, like, who's the biggest hitter that I've ever played against. Like when she hits the ball, her balls are coming very heavy and fast. Like you can't just block the ball. Like you have to like use your core and like, your whole
Yeah.
body to be able to block the ball. So, but I knew that, and because I knew that, I knew how I had to play against her, I knew that, like, even I knew how I needed to warm up. I said, we need to like activate my core. We need to like, I need to stay down. So I need to activate my glutes and my hamstring and my legs a lot and my calves. So when I go on the court, I should be a little bit tired.
Right.
If you don't mind maybe throwing out one more, I know you played Maria Sakkari a few times. So I'm curious what you feel like you have to do in order to get a win and what she does that's effective on the court.
Okay, so I played against her 3 times. I won once, I lost twice, I believe. And when I played against her for the first time, so to be clear, I love Merida. So I love playing there. I don't
Yeah,
know
can
what
you tell the
happened.
people why, Zeynep? Tell them why you love Merida.
Because I think I won my first title there, WTA title, and I think I don't know, there's a different connection. Like I love going there, and I feel it so strongly that they love me there. And so like when I go there, I feel like, I enjoy playing tennis. And like in last 1 or 2 years, there's something I realized about myself that I play so much better when I enjoy being on the court, when I have fun. There are some players I think who likes, like problems, struggles, like I love to struggle sometimes, it's just, it really makes you feel like, okay, I'm doing something good. But sometimes it's like, like when I enjoy being on the court, when I enjoy the environment, I play my best tennis. I don't know if it's like relatable, but
Yeah,
like if it makes sense.
for
But
sure.
I feel that they love me so much, and I'm like, I don't want to leave this place. I want to play. I want to keep playing here. I want to win, and uh, so in Merida, I played against her for the first time in Merida, and so she's a great player. She's a very experienced player. I love her, and I loved sharing the court with her. Um, we had the game plan. We were gonna mostly, I don't know if like, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say it. But like overall, like they don't have like huge um things that you can like, I'm just gonna play to her forehand.
Right.
Or like
There's no
you
big
have to do
weaknesses.
something.
Yeah.
You have to be specific with what you're doing. You can't just hit to her forehand or hit to her backhand. So the game plan was like, yeah, I'm gonna attack the forehand, and if something drops short, like I'm just gonna go in. And I will try to be aggressive. I will try to use the middle of the court more, because the middle deep is always tough. It's always like you don't have angle, you don't have like, you can't really create anything unless hitting the ball back. And when it's fast and deep, it's a problem. Like it's very tough to handle that. So our game, like our plan was like, try to be aggressive, and then if I get anything short, I will try to go in, and I will try to mix it a little bit. Yeah, it's something that we're working on. We're trying to add like slides and drop shots, and maybe some high balls to my game.
It's a nice feeling. I feel like playing a player that who doesn't rush you, right? Like we were talking about, like a Sabalenka who puts a lot of pressure, and but when you play a player who doesn't rush you, I feel like it's the control is coming from your racket. You can kind of dictate whether you want to be the one attacking or building the points and waiting for the right decision. And you need those matches too, right? Like to build the confidence a little bit. And yeah, so good. That's well, let's put in a request for the WTA to add some tournaments, some extra weeks in Merida.
Exactly.
For you.
But it's just like when a player's playing very fast, you start to rush. And I think your brain, like your thoughts are getting unclear too, because you're rushing there too.
Well, you have to try to do the same to them first, right? Like you
Exactly.
have to.
So
Yeah.
you start to rush, and you start to not think clearly because you're rushing. So it's all connected, So it's just it's tough to play against.
But that takes time, because the more you'll play them, the more like you'll get used to that, right? You'll use that in the practice courts, your first experience against a Sabalenka or a Rybakina, or like you'll know what that feels like, and then you'll take that to the practice courts, and then the next time you'll be a little lower faster. You'll be, take the racket back a little bit sooner. Like you'll make little adjustments, and they're not like big technical changes, but you'll adjust little things here and there that will make you feel more comfortable the next time. And that's how you after a while, just become used to kind of the power from the other side.
Exactly. Yes, I hope.
I mean, I feel like I can talk about tennis the whole time. Like, I would love to pick your brain about like where do you just mentioned it before. Like, I want to add a little bit of the variety to my game, like the slices and the volleys. Like, I saw some highlights of you where you basically like played the perfect point, like finished it with a volley, and it was like a really nice like highlight. And it just when I was younger, like we were taught to have an overall game. Like we had to practice our volleys. Like we were taught to play doubles early because we had to, become good. Like we had to be good doubles players as well, because it would make us better singles players. So I'm happy to hear that you're adding that to your portfolio. And but it's I'm just curious if you still feel like you mentioned the serve. Like I'm not a greatest server. Like are you? What is your approach to that? Is it like it is what it is, or how can I work on the details to just get better and better.
Yes, I'm definitely about everything. I feel like I can get so much better than right now. So I'm definitely thinking like, oh, what should I do? What should I change? So and for like 6 straight months, every single day I watch your match. I was thinking like what can I do to, and I didn't have a coach. And I was thinking like, okay, if I watch too much, maybe I'll start to do it. My body would think like, okay, I need to do this. Or like, I watched it so many times, I would just do it. Like, and I would watch her match.
My match?
Yes, against
Oh.
Justin. I would watch you against Justin because, like, how she would adapt to slices. Like, which footwork would she do? Or like, how would she, like, when the ball is short, would she hit and go to net, or would she back, like, she would wait on the baseline? So I was trying to, see some things, and I would take notes, and like, so you helped me a lot.
Oh, that's
But-
nice to hear.
But it's just like, it's at some point I feel like it's just so small. The differences are so small, but it takes hours and hours to like improve them. So I am definitely working on many things, like my forehand, my backhand. Like with my backhand, we don't really we're not trying to change a lot of things with my backhand, but with my forehand, like run around forehands, like inside outs, inside ends, and like to be able to like when I'm playing fast, to be able to mix it with a high ball sometimes to change the rhythm. We're working on a lot of things, but like if you have any recommendations, if you watch me play, I would love to hear it.
I'll get your number.
Thank you.
No problem. I'll give you mine.
I
you.
love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, but overall, I'm really trying to like improve my serve, because I feel like I'm doing so much better in my return games, and if I can add more to my serve, and we've been working on it. We worked on it in preseason quite a lot, and we're still working on it. And it's not like we can make huge changes because I'm playing tournaments at the same time, but we're trying to adjust it like slowly to be able to get where, like, where we want to.
And the structure, like with Issam, of building those changes, right? It takes time, but I feel like there's no better teacher than going through it in the matches and experiencing, like, oh, here my forehand was a little bit off. Like you can look at my matches and say like, oh, what did I do when Justine sliced? But until you feel it for yourself, I feel like that was, to me, my biggest teacher. Is like, yeah, I saw Steffi Graf hit the inside out forehand, and I looked at her footwork, but it's just, you create your own little habits in your head and that work for you. And and I think but it's all, it's just nice to hear like that mindset of, I've talked to players who just want to stick to the same routine all the time and don't want to change anything. And then there's other players who, after every match loss, want to change the racket, want to change the tension of the strings. You know what I mean? Like there's players who look outwards for changes and material, and then there's players who, like to adjust and dissect the game and look very inwards and try to make a lot of changes.
Yeah. I'm not someone who would like to change my racket or string.
No, I wasn't like that either.
No, but like about my game, definitely there are a lot of things. Like I watch my matches after I win or lose, and I hate watching my matches after I lose. But
I know, it's horrible.
I was like, why did you hit there?
What was I thinking?
Yeah,
Stupid mistake. That's when the criticism comes in.
Exactly. No, it helps a lot. Like it really, really helps. So I force myself to watch them, and I'm trying to see like, okay, I did this there, but like, why did I do that? Do I like, and I like to take notes. Like I have a notebook that I just write about tennis, and like in the matches too, I read them. Because like sometimes, in the moment of like pressure, or like where you feel like, okay, I'm under pressure, like when you can't think so clearly, but there are things that I wrote like when I was very calm, and when my brain was working like 100%. So I like to go back and read like, okay, what did I write for this match? And I'm like, Zeynep, just calm down and enjoy. First of all, just calm down.
Right.
It's gonna end. So just try to calm down and try to do what you need to do. And I write the things that we talked about before the match, like about what I need to do.
But don't you feel like a lot of times there is no answer because you only have like a fraction of a second? Like if you ask yourself, like, why did I make that decision? It's like, I don't know. Like I just did. Like I didn't, I just like automatic pilot basically. And it's yeah, that's the tough part. And the good part about our sport is that, sometimes there is no answer. I just did, and I'm gonna try to not make that mistake again. Like
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly, definitely. In between points, of course, but like when I sit down, I like to, sometimes, for example, because hitting backhand cross court is my comfort zone. But I actually have to play to her forehand. But because it's my comfort zone and I'm so stressed, I go back to do that. But actually, I have to play for her backhand line because we talked about this before the match, and we said I was gonna play to her forehand. But I write those kind of things to remind myself, like, okay, Zeynep, sometimes like you're lost, but this was the structure. Like, remember that. Okay, do what you feel comfortable with, but like remember that. For example, even if I have to play to her forehand, but like it's on ad side and she's serving second serve and it comes to my forehand, if I feel more comfortable hitting inside out, and if it's an important point, I will go inside out. Doesn't matter what the plan is.
No, I think that feeling is number one, first of all, right? Like but then if you feel like, okay, this is not going where I want it to go, let's go back to what we discussed. Like we also, I think every tennis player has a stubbornness to themselves where you want to stick to your strength and also sometimes try to beat your opponent to their strength as well. But yeah, it's that's part of the game of chess that we play in our head when we're on the tennis court.
Exactly, yes.
How long after a loss do you wait to watch the match? Do you get a buffer?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how I lost the match. If it was a horrible match, I need a day.
Okay. 24-hour buffer zone.
Yeah, but sometimes like I lose the match and then like in few hours we just go back and watch the match again. So it depends how I lost the match. But I mean, I would say like in 24 hours I watch it for sure.
Do you talk about the match right after when you're doing your recovery, or like you just are out for a little bit and you wait until
but they do. So when I'm biking, they come and they start to talk to me. And it depends. If I win, I'm okay to talk, of course. But if I lose,
but that's the routine usually, like to go through it a little bit.
Yes, even a little bit. Like they would ask me, like, how did you feel? And then I would just tell them how I felt, and but we would not talk like very deeply about the match when I'm biking, like just like for like 5 or 10 minutes overall. Like when I was like, for example, when I play against Merida in Qatar, after the match, I wanted to talk because I said, I was trying to do the things that we were practicing on practice, which I'm not very comfortable with. And it did not work out well. I didn't feel like I was me on the court. So I had to tell them this as fast as I can because sometimes I don't want to lose my, I don't want to lose that feeling. So I want to I said, I felt like I was someone else on the court because I was trying to do the things that we were working on. But I feel like I was not, like, I didn't put anything from myself. So I just talked right away. But it really depends. Like after I lost against Putintseva, we talked the day after. So it always changes.
Only after the loss it changes.
Yes. Yes, exactly. After I win, it doesn't matter. We can talk anything.
This was so much fun, and we appreciate your time so much. And listen, you and Kim are going to be fast friends. I will also be in Miami, so I hope I get to meet you in person.
Yes, please.
Safe travels. Enjoy your time in Miami.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Good
with
luck.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Love All. I had the best time hearing from Kim and Zeynep. We hope you did too. Join us every Wednesday for new episodes. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on all our socials at Love All Podcast. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.